Welcome in, everyone, to a deep dive on resilience, and not just the bounce back kind of thing. We're going deeper here into why it's really essential for a fulfilling life. Our starting point for this is actually a podcast episode that's full of advice and stories, so we're going to break it down and give you the good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Listening to the hosts of the podcast, what really stood out to me was how they used their own career lows and business failures. You know, those moments where you think, wait, did that really just happen? It makes it instantly relatable because we've all had those experiences.
Yes, for sure.
And they go beyond just saying, oh, well, it happens.
It's interesting how they connect those personal experiences to a larger concept. That failure isn't the opposite of success, but it's sort of like a stepping stone on the path to success.
Exactly. It's not a detour. It's part of the journey.
Yeah.
And they had this quote that I loved. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall, which sounds great on like a motivational poster.
Yeah.
But we need the practical advice behind it.
Right. We want the how.
Yeah, exactly. How do we actually do that?
And that's where their insights on how to build resilience come in. They argue that it's not something you're born with, but something you actively develop. It's like working a muscle.
Okay, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So it's like going to the mental gym for your resilience. Tell me more about that.
Yes. Each obstacle we encounter, each time we need to adapt or overcome something, it makes that resilience muscle stronger. For instance, take Michael Jordan. He's a legend on the court, but even he missed game-winning shots and experienced losses.
Right. He's human.
What distinguished him was not that he avoided failure, but that he learned from every single one.
Wow. So even at his level, those failures contributed to his success. It wasn't about avoiding falling down. It was about how he got back up each time, which leads us directly into their actionable steps.
Yeah, and they broke it down into really tangible steps, which I like. Because, be resilient, it sounds good, but how? Like, how do you actually do that? Right. That's the key. It's about having like a framework, a system. And the first thing they emphasize is acknowledging the fall. Like not just trying to like brush it off, but really like confronting it head on.
Right.
Understanding why something didn't work out, where you might have gone wrong, so you can actually learn from it.
Which makes me think about all the times I've just tried to like downplay a setback act.
Yeah.
Like it didn't bother me as much as it did.
Yeah.
But then later on, it always seems to come back and trip me up.
Yeah.
Because I never actually unpacked it,
Exactly. It's like you said. It's like trying to build something on a shaky foundation. It's not going to work out so well. The hosts of the podcast really emphasize that those falls, those failures, they actually contain a lot of valuable information. You just have to be willing to kind of dig through it a bit.
Right. It's like a learning opportunity.
Exactly.
Okay, so once we've acknowledged the fall, what's next? What do we do next?
So then they talk about the people you surround yourself with, the importance of having a strong support system, people who will celebrate your successes, of course, but also offer encouragement and perspective when you're going through tough times.
Yeah.
That's important.
You know what? That really resonates with me. I'm thinking about this project I was working on recently that kind of went sideways. And just having a couple of trusted friends to talk it through with made a huge difference.
Yeah.
They helped me see things I was totally blind to. Which I guess leads into their next point.
Keeping the bigger picture in mind.
Right. Yes.
It's easy to get so caught up in a setback that you lose sight of your long-term goals and what you're actually working towards.
Oh, absolutely. It's like that expression, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
When you're in the middle of it all, it's tough to remember what you were even aiming for in the first place.
Yeah.
But the podcast also brought up something that I think is so important and we often overlook.
Self-compassion.
Yes.
Right.
So important.
It's easy to be so hard on ourselves, especially when we're already feeling down. But the hosts emphasize that being kind to ourselves during those difficult times, it's crucial for resilience.
It's true. We talk a lot about self-care, like taking a bath or doing a face mask. But this is different. It's about that voice in our heads, right? How we talk to ourselves when things get rough.
Exactly. It's about forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
Realizing that everyone makes mistakes. And that beating yourself up is only going to hold you back from moving forward. Remember, resilience isn't about never falling down. It's about how you get back up.
So true. And that actually brings us to their last point, which I found really insightful. They talk about how resilience isn't a destination. It's not like you reach this point and then suddenly you're immune to setbacks. It's more like...
It's a journey,
Yes.
a process of
Exactly.
continuous learning, adapting, and growing from your experiences.
It's ongoing.
Yeah, it's more like an evolution than a transformation.
Which totally changes how you think about it, doesn't
Yeah.
it? It's not like there's this finish line where you're suddenly perfectly resilient.
Exactly. It's about embracing the challenges, recognizing that those are the things that shape us and make us who we are. Those challenges help us grow. It's kind of like we were saying earlier about building muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets.
Right, and you wouldn't expect to go to the gym once and be able to lift a car. It's about consistency, showing up and doing the work even when you don't feel like it.
Exactly. And that's what makes resilience so powerful. It's not about never falling down because those setbacks are going to happen. It's about developing the skills and the right outlook to handle those setbacks with grace, to learn from them, and to come out stronger on the other side.
I love that. And the podcast actually ended on a question that really struck me, and I want to pose that same question to you, our listener. How can you use these principles of resilience to tackle a challenge you're facing right now in your own life?
That's a really great question, because it's easy to discuss resilience in a theoretical sense, but the real magic occurs when we actually apply it. When we take these ideas and figure out how they fit into our own personal circumstances.
Exactly. And I love a good actionable takeaway.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this while you're walking or driving or maybe folding laundry, take a second to actually consider that question. What's one small step, even a tiny one, that you can take today that aligns with these principles of resilience? Because even those small steps, those little changes to our thoughts and behaviors, can create huge waves of change in the long run.
I completely agree. Resilience is a journey, and like any worthwhile adventure, it's best to take it one step at a time.
So well said. I think we did a fantastic job really breaking down this topic, don't you think? A huge thank you to you for sharing your insights with us.
It was my pleasure.
And to you, our listener, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Remember, resilience is a journey, not the destination. So embrace the difficulties, celebrate the victories, and never forget how powerful it is to get back up just one more time. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and as always, keep those sparks of knowledge burning bright.